Yo, what's good, everybody? This is Y and Z Conversation Between the Generations. I represent Generation Y, aka the millennials. The name is Jay Clark. I have a friend over here who represents the other half of this conversation. They are known as Gen Z. Um, I got blasted last week for not doing a proper introduction because they are just the saviors of the world, the keepers of
You
knowledge
know,
and
I
truth.
wouldn't say that we're
And
the saviors, but we definitely are the innovators.
whoa, that is quite the statement that I don't think many would agree with. Anyways,
Keep the agreement. It's overrated.
that's y'all's problem. These siloed experiences. The world is only how I see it. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. YZ the Divide. J Clark 787, the real Xavier Lewis, the Lewis brand.
Yes,
Before we get
sir.
to it, it's October, playoff baseball. You see this right here. The New York Mets are headed to the NLCS. Don't shake your head. It's a beautiful time of year. Hype. I don't get to see this too often, so I'm enjoying myself. But
You know
anyway,
what? We will let baseball fans have it. It is America's pastime. Thank you so much, baseball fans, for loving what you love.
don't be don't be disrespectful. You got a baseball lesson coming sometime. I didn't get to it this year. Hopefully, maybe I'll save it for spring training or something. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you got baseball learning. Anyways, let's get into it. We got some fun for you today. A good discussion. Um, Fortune put out an article earlier this week talking about how Gen Z has finally settled on apparently the new age when they are dictating when adulthood starts. I believe they've some are saying, according to the article, it's between 27 and 30 now. Of course, we've all heard the story, milestones and markers, whether it be, getting that good job, paying your bills, getting married, having some children, being responsible, all these responsibilities and adulting is just
Yes.
becoming harder. So let me ask the young adult here, how you
What you
feeling?
referring to
Do you feel
yourself?
like an adult? Do you feel like one? Are you an adult? Do you feel like one? I'm curious. What?
You know, I don't really know. Let's start here. Let's just all be honest and agree that the criteria of being an adult was always different for each family. I don't think it ever was a wide mainstreamed opinion of what being an adult was.
Spoken
We
like somebody
saw in was
spoken like
that,
spoken like somebody who wasn't alive pre 2000.
but it's the truth though, because widespread, even in the 90s, for certain environments, grown wasn't until you got out my house and paid your own bills.
That's
For
the
some
general consensus.
people,
That's the general consensus.
no, 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 no. That's the general consensus amongst our people.
Uh huh.
Amongst other communities, grown could have been at 16 when someone is able to start driving their own vehicle or driving a vehicle. Grown could have been 18 uh, because, you can vote. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Let me focus you. Don't use grown. We're talking like because grown. I can see where you're going with grown. It's adulting, adulthood. So, do you feel like an adult at the ripe
Yes,
old
man.
age of
No.
23?
In 22.
22. Sorry.
Don't ever disrespect the 22,
Sorry.
the
Sorry. I forgot.
deuce.
Let me not age you up. Let me not age you up. Sorry.
Please, God, do
Sorry.
not.
Sorry.
I feel 75 as is. But no, I really don't know. Some days I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Some days I try to compare myself to other people my age and be like, okay, I must be doing something right. And then some days I compare myself to people my age and I be like, obviously I'm doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because adulting now is just so subjective. Like, even people who are my age who have a lot of success and fame, is that still adulting to an extent? Just because you have a substantial amount of money and you're quote unquote famous, is that what we're considering to be adulting now? Is adulting uh driven by our ability to be known, or
Well,
is it driven
break,
by stability?
break it down for us. Bring us to your level. So, speaking from a very personal experience, where you are, what before I get
You
into
know,
it as well, what do you define it as in your experience? Like you're like, okay, I can officially say I reached adulthood when A, B, C. Like what for you?
yeah, I think adulthood starts when, well, true full adulthood, right? I think I'm experiencing parts of it as far as like, having my own apartment, having my own vehicle in my name, stuff like that. But I think, it's still a part of it that's not adulthood because I'm still in parts being dependent upon my parents. So I think adulthood fully is when, there's no dependency on a parent. I do think that is owning things in your name. Um, not, I won't even take it that far. Just, having possessions that's in your name. I think that's very key and integral to being an adult, being able to have a job. I wouldn't even say a job because you know how that goes now. Having a couple of sources of income to be financially stable, financial stability. I think that's definitely adulthood. Um, and maturity. I think a lot of people forget that emotional maturity, mental maturity, even just being able to be disciplined, like all of that is adulthood first. Okay, let me start there. I'm glad I said that. Adulthood starts internally. I think it starts there first, and that's the part where I'm more pleased with myself than anything else. Adulthood starts internally. Let's start the conversation there before we get into the nitty gritty of like is adulthood being in the out of your parents' house. Do you agree with that statement that adulthood starts internally?
No,
Really?
because at some point, regardless of how you feel about it, you are an adult. Whether you accept it, whether you believe it, at some point, you are an adult.
So you're saying regardless of maturity levels?
Regardless of mature. Let's put it this way: in the eyes of the law, 18 years
Okay, I mean, true.
point,
Yeah.
so on that side, regardless how you feel about it, 18 years old, use an adult. Now, on the other hand, I think the I think it comes back to as the article was talking about this whole what we use to measure it. Because even as you're saying, for you, okay, yeah, it starts with an inside acknowledgement, and then it's being out my mama's house and not getting like there's a variety of different ways, and I think everybody on a personal level, to some extent, which is the story of your generation, has their checklist. But I also think there are the milestones that we can all agree on, which are touched upon in the article, being, yeah, being on your own,
Right, right.
supporting yourself, which is, paying bills, food, rent, whatever, all that kind of good jazz. To me, I think that's and a job, or I guess that kind of goes with the paying your bills, however you're paying your bills, But I think to me, those are the two real things. I think anything else outside of that now becomes the what kind of life decisions am I making? Because everybody in here ain't gonna get married. Everybody's not out here to get married. Some people will never own a car based off where they live. Like, so there's a lot of things that I think could be up in the air. But the two main ones is, yeah, you living out on your own and supporting yourself, however that needs to be done. Adulthood. Welcome.
So if you don't hit those milestones, do you never consider yourself an adult?
If you don't hit those milestones, what do you do? You not living.
Could there be a adult that has never lived elsewhere of their parents' house?
Unfortunately, there are. and and that's where we start to question, like,
I mean, could be very successful. I mean, I think we see it more happening now.
okay, that's a different
Of
story.
huh?
I see where you're going there. That's a different
Oh
story.
yeah.
I so okay, so let me ask some clarification before you go deeper. Is this said person living in their mama's house, or is their mama living with them?
I mean, I know individuals, they're living with their parents.
Are they paying the bills?
Nope.
No, yeah. So unfortunately, this is the problem we really have started to see with your generation is
Yeah.
y'all just some bums. Y'all some bums. Gen Z is bums. I said it. A bunch of bums. You're not Gen Z. You're Generation bums. There we go.
But, and I think the argument is always going to be, oh, things are just so high out there. Things are just, whatever, whatever. But there are literally adults in their 30s
Don't say
who
30.
have not lived anywhere elsewhere of their parents' house. They do not contribute as far as like paying utilities. Maybe, yes, they'll buy some groceries or whatever, here and there, but they're spending their money on their appearances.
So
They're
that
considered an
they are an adult. You are an irresponsible an adult. You are a grown child at that. Like it's interesting because yeah, like those last couple years of my generation have gotten hit by this as well. Unfortunately, yeah, this isn't quite all your fault.
Hey, say it again.
I mean, this isn't all your fault. There is the side of it that is, yeah, the rent is high, the eggs are high, the gas is high, and they eating cats and dogs in Springfield. No, sorry, sorry, no, this was the illegal. No, that's not the immigrants. No, but like, it's been proven right now. Society, it hasn't kept up. Whether it be wages, opportunity, like, yeah, the bar for traditional markers is high. Y'all don't help though either because y'all seem entirely unmotivated to do anything as well. So
I think that's because we hear your generations complaining. No bump against millennials, but godly, if a millennial can do nothing else, all y'all can do so complaining. Oh, y'all are great complainers, and I think the object of your complaining has been shown so much in my generation. So whereas you all had that drive, but there was no opportunities, you complained, and now here's my generation. Like, well, why should I need? Why even get the drive? Why even go for it? Why do this when I see that it's not going to amount to much of anything?
so what I'm curious with this struggle, I have no clue where this conversation is gonna go. We riding with it. We in the door, we going. With this struggle, granted, as acknowledged, it's not all your fault, but there you have a part to play in it. What's the end goal? Are you literally just waiting out for mama and daddy to die and you can get their house?
Bro, I hope not. I hope people are not waiting around for that, bro.
What is I
I think we talked about this before.
no, we haven't talked about this angle before. Like the
No,
fact
I
was
think
like,
the way I'm about to. Well, I
go ahead,
mean,
go ahead.
I think in a sense, people are waiting for just their moment, wherever that moment presents itself. I think for some people, that moment may be mom and dad dying and them leaving everything to them. I think, certain people's moment is going to be somebody discovering them and then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Because we've seen that happen a few different times, especially with, people short attention spans. As long as you can keep a person's attention span for 15 seconds, make them laugh or whatever emotion you want to evoke in them, bam, you got your fame. And that's your way out. Some people, their epiphany is gonna be drugs, violence, gangs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think sadly, people are just waiting on for that one moment, whatever that one moment may be. So I think that's what it is. I think a lot of everybody nowadays is bridging and hoping on one moment.
So because this is where I think the divergence comes is to where us millennials and older, so ex boomers and whatnot, just we're looking at y'all like, what the hell is the world is moving on. Like this
Yes.
continues, and y'all are just like, no. And then want to get mad when you don't get anywhere, period. Like,
It's so funny to see somebody mad that a river is flowing.
right.
That's the majority of my generation.
And and
They
and
were
and we're
thinking,
downriver in our canoes having a good time, and y'all are like,
I built a dam. This should have stopped the flow. That's not how it works. Because the river is going to flow. Like the river, which is time, is going to keep flowing. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep moving. But the whole gist of it is it's our ability to be able to adapt. I think that's just one thing my generation doesn't do well of adapt.
okay. Because I was about to say, a Gen Z and adapting? No, no, no. Yeah, y'all are very much so like, if it ain't the perfect day, and no, if it ain't the most perfect minute of the most perfect day of the most perfect hour in that most perfect day of the most perfect week of the most perfect month of the most perfect time of year of the most perfect year out of every year there is, like the stars have to align in such a narrow way for y'all that it's like there's 50 million other possibilities here, guys. Like,
Right.
get out and do something.
And even the mindset of just if you just get out, you might just stumble upon something that you didn't even recognize or realize was going to be there. This whole essence of perseverance, or like I was just talking about, that one moment. You what you barely understand is what oftentimes goes into one moment is many small moments that you have to persevere through in order to get to that one moment. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on, yeah, come on.
Like
I know.
I just wish the bulk of my generation would get that. And this is another thing they need to get to. Because I think the part of my generation that does get that also just ascribes to being dumb. And this is what I mean by that. Nobody is saying be persistent with dumb decisions. We're not saying that. Nobody is telling you to blindly do anything in hopes that you blindly doing this or you blindly making horrible decisions is going to result in some great, grandiose woohoo.
1 second. I have to do some adulting. Yes. Open the door. What do you want?
I just want to let everybody know this is my most favorite part of the
Okay.
episode.
You try.
Record at night.
Usually he's asleep. He has no school tomorrow. That's the problem.
But this is not the point. This is my favorite part. Like I will say, this is one part of adulting that I cannot wait to do, and that's being a dad, having a family. Like I really hope Gen Z
You need something?
can
Can I
see.
finish? I need you to go. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
I really want Gen Z to know that they like. I know everybody won't have a family, or everybody doesn't desire a family, or whatever. But this Gen Zer, I desire the whole get up. But yeah, what we was talking about, adulting.
so let me
And
let me
your adulting just bled into the episode.
so it did. So let me ask you this because I feel like your generation. It's okay. Yeah. Here's where I had my mind. Your generation feels like they're special. That y'all are doing something
Generation does.
that no other generation has done before, lived life. And I think that's your biggest problem.
I don't think it's anything wrong with being special or thinking that you're the all that in the bag of chips. I think
Well,
it creates.
no, because it shows up. I think it shows up in a way that has what has created the divide, and we see it a lot with your. I don't we'll take. We see it a lot with your stances, for example, on mental health, and that like with like once again this whole shutting down thing, like I can't, I'm overloaded today. It's like what made you overloaded? Well, it was brown instead of red or whatever. Like it's the small thing, and it's also like
No, okay.
and it's just
I,
like
I agree with you. I
and
agree with you.
and
And we're nobody is saying that your feelings are. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I am saying your
no,
feelings are invalid. I am saying that. I don't know. I just got to be that one. I'm very blunt.
sometimes you got to put your feelings aside because once again,
Exactly.
you've mentioned this before, how before in the past things were so far on one side of the spectrum and now we've swung to the other. And on with this particular thing, for example, we've swung so far to like, yes, not saying your mental health isn't important. That's not what I'm saying here, but it's like we're acting like at the end, like the minute the minuscule infraction or the minuscule thing infringes on this sense of sanity or this feeling of stress or things not being where they're supposed to be, that it's an entire shutdown. And this is not judging anybody for their boundary, anything like that. But I think the criticism y'all have leveled at older generations, and we see it in the way y'all deal with how people handle relationships or what they tolerate, like yada yada yada. I think it's a little out of hand
It is
because
because look at it.
y'all don't have that. Y'all need some of that get up and get shit done spirit.
Like there is a beauty in compartmentalization. Compartmentalize that junk. Don't come to work with all of that on your plate. I'm not, we're here to work. I'm not here to solve world hunger. Okay? I'm here to check people into a hotel, get them into a room, making sure they're good, making sure the operation is fine. Not really here to hear how you waiting for your wig to come in for your trip next week and you mad about that. What they got to do with me or anybody else?
You can talk about life with people, but I think it's to the point
No,
where,
no, no, no. I don't want to talk about life with you if it's it's so. Oh, okay, here I am being me. I don't want to talk about it if it's that's not a valid reason for you to treat guests like they're poo.
oh, granted. So bringing it back, yes, because I think like I said, y'all criticize heavily older generations for not being more emotionally aware or thinking that, and I would judge that. I would say you didn't call it depression or whatever, but you knew what you knew when your spirit was a little low. You knew what you and we may not have publicly faced those type of things, but that didn't stop people from doing the things they needed to be done. Yeah,
And this is why,
dad and mom might have had a bad day. Something might
but
have gone
you
wrong.
couldn't afford to not do what needed to be done. And this is why, the luxuries of not, the privileges of wealth or the privileges of having that, that sense of, oh, I don't have to do anything because I'm not going to be an adult or I'm not going to be grown until I'm 30. The privileges of that is mental health issues. I would never forget how the older Black generation, they be like, I didn't know nothing about depression. I didn't have time to be depressed. How could I be depressed when I had to iron 5 kids' clothes, get dinner ready? How could I be depressed and I'm working 3 jobs to support my family? All you knew is you cherished the good moments. The bad moments, when they came, you persevered through them. Yes, by the time you were 75, you were tired, but who isn't at 75? Who isn't tired at that age?
And on the other side, we're not going to say that that was entirely correct either.
It,
That
it wasn't,
there
it was
has
just an unhealthy balance.
and I think that's where we really need to get to is like, okay, I can acknowledge today is a bad day, or even acknowledge today is a good day, whatever the feeling may be. But let's use bad because bad generally stops things. So I'm depressed. The world ain't right. Whatever. I still need to eat. I still need to get things done. So there has to be that balance, like acknowledging it, but also at the same time, like I said, y'all need some of that spirit of it's time to get shit done because
Bruh,
y'all are just like, oh, it's not today's not right.
this work week has been strenuous for me. I ended up, so most people work a 40-hour work week. What do you do? My director was like, hey, you want to work 6 days next week? Me in my head, I almost was like, why would he ask me, do I want to work 6 days? Is he crazy? Has he lost his mind?
Were you getting more money for this extra day?
You know I am.
Okay. Make sure.
That, Clark, overtime, time and a half
Wonderful.
for that extra day. Watch
Wonderful.
this. So here I am already working 6 days. Something happens and they need me to come in and work a 12-hour shift on one of the days, one of the 6 days. And in my head, I'm thinking again, I'm like, are they crazy? Asking me that? And then I was still thinking about, I'm like, okay, the holidays coming up. I want to be able to still, do some things. I have bills that need to be paid. All of these things are going in the back of my head. And I'm like, yes, it might not be the best thing. Yes, it might not be ordeal that I'm having to work, a 52-hour work week generally. But I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Things need to be taken care of. There are things that I want to do personally for myself. There are things I want to do for others, and I need to get it done. So you know what I did with my tiredness? I compartmentalized it. And I don't let it spill out on everybody else. I don't come to work and say every day, "Oh, I'm surely as tired today." I hate people who do that.
Sound like there's one person at work who kind of get under your skin right now. It sound like this
There
is.
are several of them, but there are several of them. Because, and this is a big thing too. I'm just not big on complainers at all, though. I think my generation, if we could just really get in that mindset of, I don't need to complain. Yes, it is what it is, but complaining gets me nowhere. And I think everybody at this point in time, especially because I mean it's just so popular now, I'm just voicing my opinion. I'm just trying to get this off my chest. You can get things off your chest and not complain about it.
You can complain too, but that ain't all you about to do. And that's the problem. It's there's as we see in some political sectors right now, it's just some folk all they do is complain, complain, complain. And then don't do nothing. You just sit.
There's no do with the complaining. There's no do with anything. Like I don't have a problem with you getting your feelings off your chest. But what is going to be an action plan once these things are done? We need to be have some plans in place or something. Like, yeah, okay, you telling me that you don't like your job, what's all that, blah 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 blah. Okay, but what are you gonna do about it? Are you just gonna talk about it, or are you gonna do something about it?
It's Y and Z conversation between the generations. I'm curious. We don't have no real battle this week, I'm since we've been speaking on adulting, and you at your young old age of 22, what things have you checked off so far that you're like, yep, I'm adult. I'm an adult. Or the moments that you're like, yep, I'm an adult. And then you've already kind of mentioned one earlier, but we can now formally talk about it if you want. What are some other things, what are some, like a couple that you're like, these are still out there that don't make me feel like I'm an adult.
Can I be honest? The true way that I measure if I'm an adult or not is by the mistakes I've made, not by the successes.
Elaborate.
So I was like, okay, I know I'm becoming an adult, or I know I'm becoming,
Ah,
getting the phase of an adult because I made that stupid purchase to buy that Ford Escape out there with 800 something car note a month. I know I'm an adult now. I know I'm an adult because
sir,
I made that stupid purchase.
you should have let me help you purchase a car.
But because I was so adamant about not having a cosigner, because I was so adamant about doing it by myself, I made a dumb decision. Dumb decision.
So is it the weight of the decision that makes you feel like an adult, or is it just
I
you?
think it's my ability, the lessons learned, I think is what makes me feel like I'm an adult. Like, of course, I'm out of my parents' house, but even then, living in my parents' house, um, it's not that I felt less than an adult. If anything, I just felt like I felt too dependent. And I don't think I could measure myself and call myself fully an adult. Even if I wasn't dependent on my parents at this point, even if I were just still solely dependent on someone else, I still wouldn't consider myself an adult. I think to be an adult means that you can stand alone at some point in time.
When did you move out your parents' house?
March of 2024.
Oh, you fresh. Okay, okay. So essentially, and towards the end of being 21. Okay. Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah. So
So
I
you spent
officially,
you spent
well,
college at your parents' house?
no. Well, okay, so this is what happened. So this is why I've always been like so interesting. Alcorn State University was like an hour away from my house. I did live on campus, but I would be back home every
Oh,
weekend
you weren't
working,
in. You weren't
and
in.
then I'll be at church.
You
You know what
weren't.
I'm saying? So I was out of house when I wasn't out of house. And I mean, technically, I moved out of my parents' house in January, but then I moved in with my sister, and then I stayed with my
I
sister
remember
until
those days.
March.
Yep, yep. We definitely
Right,
record some car episodes. Uh-huh.
right. So, that's what I had to do then. So I was out of my parents' house, but I still was dependent upon someone else, still not making me feel like an adult.
Okay. Wow. Because yeah, I moved out. The last time I lived under my parents' house was the summer of my second year at Howard. So I was 19.
Really?
Yeah, because then I moved, Howard was 3 hours away, 3.5 hours away from the house, moved on to campus, and yeah, it became a determination never to go back. And not a bad thing, but it was one of those like,
Yeah,
it's,
I just don't want to move back in. Yeah, I get that.
no, no. So yeah, I've been on my own since that had to be like what, 18, 19, no, 19-ish, 20, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I mean, and I look at my pops, man. My pops graduated from high school in, I think, like the day after graduation. He was on a Greyhound bus to California.
Oh, them old timers would do some wild stuff. Wow.
Bro,
Wow.
he just was like, I'm getting away. I done graduated, got my diploma. I'm going out here to be with my uncle for a little bit. Bam, I'm getting out of my parents' house. And in a sense, I started envying him for that because I was like, man, I done graduated from college, moved back in with my folks. Because at this time, I graduated from college at 20. I'm not even 21 yet. I can't even get an apartment if I wanted one. Um, not at 20. So, it was like I felt kind of delayed in a lot of things because I just wasn't old enough yet. So it was just very interesting to see like my progression. And now I'm here at 22, attempting to be an adult, still making mistakes.
What's
And
the next milestone? What's the next thing that's like what's the next
I made
milestone
a
that'll
I
be
made a poor financial decision in May.
no, so yeah, you made that one. So what's the next one that's like ahead of you that's like when I get like this is the next thing that'll be like I'm an adult. What is that closest one to you? Is it getting married, or is it getting a certain position at work, or is it like what's that next milestone that you're looking to accomplish? It's like, yeah, I'm an adult.
I think it's removal of debt. I think that's going to be my next
Interesting.
big. Because I don't have an extreme amount of student loans, only because I did 2 years, and
Okay.
so I think removal of debt as far as like my car and like student loan debt for the most part, I think that's going to be my next big like, oh, I'm an adult. And even then, even with positions and stuff, I'm just very fickle about those things because in my head, job positions, they come and they go. The easiest I got them, that could be the easiest I lose them. And we really saw that with COVID. So I try not to put much weight into those anymore as far as like trying to make that a criteria for my adulthood. Do I see myself moving again? Yeah. Will I be excited about it? Yeah. Do I see myself hopefully uh
Finding Mrs. Lewis.
making what'd you say?
Finding Mrs. Lewis.
Oh, let me say this. I will say this. A milestone, hopefully, that will be coming in the next 5 years of
Oh,
me being an adult, a full beard. The day I get a full beard, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. I don't want to hear, I ain't little nothing, I ain't young nothing. Call me Unc. The day I get a full beard. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk.
you might never get that status at this rate. It's Y and
Whoa,
Z
whoa, whoa,
conversation
whoa,
between
whoa, no.
the
What we're
generation.
not gonna do is sit on the other side of the screen and jinx my ability to have a full beard.
I mean, it's everybody can't do it necessarily. Some folks got it,
Okay.
some folks don't. I mean, you still got it up here. That's my next adult milestone. Is
What?
when I get it enough, I'm gonna take a trip to Turkey. I'm,
Ooh.
I'm gonna come back. You're gonna be like, oh, he likes getting classic again. And I'm be like, just let your soul. And I ain't gonna have to be like, yep, I was adult and I said, taking this trip to
Don't
Turkey.
even get another child, man. You're gonna have another child.
Ooh,
You already.
ooh, ooh, ooh.
Hey, if you want Jason to have another child, just drop it in the comments. One more.
Oh, you can drop it all you want. Hot chance that ain't happening.
Bro, your son gonna get too old. He need another sibling.
First of all, these children is expensive.
They are.
Expensive. This
But
adult
you got
this
it, big money. You
oh
got it.
whoa, sir. The rent is too damn high. Well, no, I don't have a rent, but the mortgage is too damn high. The eggs is too damn high.
That's a milestone for being an adult.
And at this point, I ain't never going back to the days of diapers and daycare. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's Y and Z, conversation between the generations. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining us and tuning in. What we appreciate it. Like I said, just sometimes we
Definitely.
just never know where it's gonna go because
Nah.
you never know what's up with Gen Z. We try to figure it out, but but you are doing better than most, sir. I said real, not sarcastic, but you get a hand clap. You almost, if they didn't know that you was born in 2002, you almost could be a millennial. That should be how
Oh, I am.
you are.
I
What?
am millennial. I
No,
know.
no, no,
I know. I fooled everybody. I'm not really 20.
sir. That lack of facial hair says otherwise. Until next. Peace out, y'all. He gonna go have a bad day. He not gonna shut down though, because he gonna go to his job.
I will wake up one morning with a full beard, and you're just gonna be like, "Oh, what happened?" And I'm gonna come on this camera, and then I'm gonna have a full face of hair and a full head of hair.
As long as
One
as long as
more
you don't look
thing.
like a Philly dude back in the day, you don't come with one of them. But
Nah, I am. I am not trying to look like a Hebrew Israelite.
we'll see, sir. You like them pork chop sideburns, so I don't know. Um, you could
Hey, bro.
you could come up in here with the old school granddaddy 1800s, just like the chops. Or
Oh, just the chop. Stop right here. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Bring back the chops. That's what we need to bring back.
sir,
Forget the full beard. I don't even need the full beard.
here we go. The day, if I'm not in New Orleans before then, but the day you come on here with a full beard, since the last time we were in person, I couldn't do this. I'm buying you a drink. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out, y'all.